Well, hello there, elevated elephant folk. So it's been some time, hasn't it? Sorry about that. I hope you're all well. I'm pretty good. Moved back to London, and that was a bit of a hoo-ha. But now we're settled back in Camden. A few false starts, but we're cracking back on, and I'm out now with my dog buddy in Hampstead Heath, awaiting a visit from my friend. So if you can hear background noise, it's because we're in the heath, the beautiful heath. And if you hear a dog bark, that's Buddy saying hello. So why am I here? So I'm on my own. There's no interview this week. And the reason for that is because I'm going in deep, guys. I really want to take the podcast to another level, as it were. So I've been just using the iPhone's headbud mics, which is okay, but the sound isn't great. And then you listen to other podcasts, and I'm like getting audio envy. Lovely warm audio sounds. I want that. But because I've been moving house, moving countries, it just hasn't happened. So what I'm going to do, the plan is, I'm going to get all the kit, all the gear and all the ideas, and I'm going to meet teachers if I can, especially, if they're located in London. I'm going to meet them face to face and strap them up to a mic. We'll probably be in either a yoga studio or a coffee shop or on the park. I'm so sorry. You can hear me huffing and puffing. So yeah, there might be some ambient sound, but I'm hoping that might add to the kind of everydayness about it all. And I have some really cool teachers. Well, I think they're really cool. In the pipelines, snuggled up in the pipelines, waiting for my green light, pull my finger out so we can start recording. I'm really excited for you to hear the new sound. I'm excited for myself to hear the new sound. And what else? Oh yeah, good old Philip. He is building me a website. Oh, woohoo! So Elevated Elephant will have its own little page. Lovely, lovely, jubbly. Nice photos, snazzy. So that it makes it more inviting, so that you guys can hang out there, maybe chat, maybe send me an email. Oh yes, that reminds me, I met a lovely girl a couple of weeks ago called Rachel. Shout out to Rachel. Great name. All Rachels are awesome. And she came to one of my classes. Well, she emailed me first, then came to one of my classes, and she said, "Hi, I'm Rachel. I emailed you about the podcast." And I was like, "Hey, Rachel, that's so awesome. I'm happy that you came." All that good stuff. And then I was like, "How do you know about the podcast?" Because it's small. There's only a few people listening, I think. And I thought it's either a friend of a friend or something that we have in common. But no, it was completely cold call. That's not the right phrase. She found it just by scrolling through iTunes. And it made my entire day. It gave me such motivation to keep going, really. I was going to keep going anyway with the podcast, but it really made me want to just make it better so I can feel proud of it and showcase the teachers the way I want them to be showcased, just build on it. So Rachel, you are a gem. And I really hope to see you soon, maybe hang out for a coffee. And there's been a few other emails as well, and I think you guys would like to hear a bit more about business and yoga, making the money, stacking those papers, cashing in the Elizabeths. What else? So I'm going to hot foot it over to a teacher that knows their thing about business and money and how to grow yourself as a yoga teacher in this crazy old world. So that's really useful. So if you guys listening have topics you'd love me to talk about with a teacher, someone in the game, someone in the teaching yoga game, not on the streets, just to be clear. So yeah, shoot me over an email, and I'll put that in the memory banks, and I'll make sure I ask the specialist in question and get their thoughts and views on it and all that lovely stuff. So, well, while I have you here, there's a thing that's been going around and around in my mind for ages, and it kind of is to do with labelling. So some labels bother me, but I know they're useful because that's how we kind of understand the world, labels, symbols. But they're very restrictive, as we all know. Useful and restrictive, all at the same time. And every time I'm back teaching, so every time I call my students, if it comes out of my mouth, I call them yogis or yogins or yoginis, I sort of get a little bit of my own pushback when I say that, because I'm not sure if I'm actually a yogini. I mean, I'm really, really, really interested in yoga. I'm interested in the history. I'm interested in learning about the culture. I love some of the practices. I don't do all of them. In the West, this is that big question. Are we practicing yoga? Can we call ourselves yogis or yoginis? And I'm by no means a historian at all, but I've read an ickle bit. You know how it is. Got a book full of shelves. My brain completely moved that around. I've got a shelf full of books about yoga. And I've sort of dipped in and out and read some back to front if they're really juicy and understandable and easy to read. And the more I read, the more I think, I'm definitely not a yogi. Meaning, I'm not really a rebel, I wouldn't say. I'm not a man. I'm a householder. I mean, I don't have kids. But, I'm in the world. I'm not an ascetic. I haven't renounced the world in search of enlightenment. And, I know what some of you are probably thinking. I think it myself all the time. That we can adapt these things to make them suit our culture, our time. And I am in agreement. And it's that thing of two things being true at once. I totally agree with that. And I also totally don't agree with that. It's almost like sometimes I wish that there was another label that we would use. Like a little nod towards yoga, but really in the West, are we practicing that? I don't know. Like maybe we need to come up with another label. Or is that even useful? Do we even need that? I don't know. This is why I'm rambling. But this is something I've just been thinking about, and reading a bit about the history and whatnot. And these guys, some girls, some gals, are hardcore. Practicing full-on tapasya, full-on austerity. And it was all about the self, right? It's all about self-realization. And I'm not even sure that they had the betterment of the world in their mind. Like we kind of talk about now in modern popular culture. We talk a lot about kind of peace and love, man, love for all, which is totally cool. It sounds like utopia. But I'm not actually sure if these yogis, that's what they were in it for. I think it was purely for self. Maybe there's a few of them in it for the greater good, but in general, I really think it was about self-betterment and not really much consideration for the world at large. So there's that. Have we sort of boiled it down to something more acceptable to our day and age and culture? And like I said, some of that is great, some of that maybe we just don't look at because it doesn't taste right, you know? Because I think these yogis were complete. I mean, some of them like sounded absolutely crazy. I think that I can't remember their names, but I think there is one type of practice or practitioner who was like the crazy man. They would be just utterly crazy as their spiritual practice, kind of bending all the rules of society, misbehaving. And then I think about how we teach yoga in the West, and we're meant to ask people for injuries and have insurance and smell nice and wash and cut our hair, and maybe us ladies and some men wear a bit of makeup. So yeah, more and more I just sort of think, is this the right labeling for what we do now? I don't know. So what I would absolutely love is to hear your thoughts on this. And I think it's one of those sort of philosophical thoughts and thinkings that really, I don't care about having a definitive answer. That's not the fun. The fun is to kind of go round and around and up and down and sideways and stand still until you're all spun out and you have no idea what's front to back and the right way around. But yeah, I just would really like to know what you think. And maybe even you could clarify some stuff for me in my ponderings. Have you been here? You know, what do you label yourself as? Especially teachers. I think if I was just a person who practiced, I wouldn't be so bothered. But as a teacher, I just think, where do I stand? And also, I'm not a disciple. So a massive thing about being a teacher, it kind of inherently makes you think that I've been a disciple. You know, and I haven't. I've kind of fast-tracked myself into this teacher role. And I think I'm not on my own. I'm definitely not on my own. A lot of us listening have done that. Maybe we've been disciples with a small d. Or we've taken a few classes with maybe the same teacher over and over again, a few retreats. But really, discipleship is completely different now, you know? So, calling myself a teacher, even that label... Even that label I'm just not so sure about. So I know I have to say I'm a yoga teacher, otherwise what the heck am I, and how the hell are people going to know what I'm doing and then spend their coin attending my classes, workshops, retreats, and what have yous. So I'm going to leave you on that big old question mark, because I would really love to hear your thoughts on that, and if you've come up with any labels yourself that seem to fit the way we teach, the way we practice yoga now, that kind of makes a bit more sense to the here and the now, to the world we live in, to the culture we're in. Yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts. So I'm going to leave it there. So next time, I'm hoping... I've actually done this. So I've kind of set a precedent. You guys have heard me say it. I'm going to get the kit. I'm going to sit down with a teacher who I've got in mind already and they've agreed. And we're going to hash out some chat. And if you've got any questions, once I've, on the Facebook page, once I've told you who the teacher is... If you've got any questions that you'd like me to put forward to this teacher in particular in question, then that'd be awesome as well. That'd be really cool. And I'm sure she wouldn't mind. I'm sure. So until next time, go to the website, all the W's, rachelperry.co.nz, soon to be changed, and follow the podcast tab, and there you can find download for this podcast, and you can follow it to iTunes, and also there's a link, I believe, there for the Facebook page. So if you're not already a Facebook liker, followee, then please join us there and join the discussion. So thanks for listening, and until next time, happy practicing.